came for advice.
Interesting conversation behind the scenes, but thank you for joining us again. This is our special coverage of the Ondo governorship election, where we have our correspondents scattered across the state, bringing us up to speed with developments there with regards to the election. So far, we have had reports that voting process has begun in Owo, Ondo South, and also some other areas there where our correspondents have been bringing us details of how the process has been going on. And the people are already making some demands, what their expectations are of whoever takes office. They want good roads, they want quality schools, and perhaps a reduction in fees. And so they also want that things are made easy for them when the next governor takes over the reins of office. We still have our guests in the studio, Professor Anthony Kila, Director, Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies, here still speaking with us. Thank you for still staying with us.
Good to be here.
Now, there was something you mentioned earlier on I want you to expatiate on before we went on the break, because it was an interesting point, and I believe that there are those who would want to hear more of your perspective with regards to that. You were talking about people should be more focused on a good process as against partisan politics.
Yes.
But we know how we are, and I was saying in this part of the world, what thrives here is partisan politics. So when you're talking about good process, partisan politics, saying good process outweighs partisan politics, how do you mean, and how does that improve on our democratic process and even our democracy that we call as being nascent, so to speak?
So let us start by admitting that, be it the passion for process or the passion for partisan politics, is an acquired taste. Nobody's born one way or the other.
Right.
We just have to decide which one really benefits us. You see, there's an illusion where millions of people identify themselves with a party or a person, especially during election time. They argue about it, they talk about it. But in reality, of these millions of people, it's only thousands that actually benefit, truly. So individuals should look at them and say, really, what is my real benefit in this deal, in this system? Is it having somebody who looks like me or prays like me or speaks like me that really benefits me, or having a good road and a secured place? Once you decide one of those two, if having somebody that speaks like you or looks like you or you know personally is what benefits you, by all means, I'm not a moral thing for that kind of thing. By all means, go for that, fight for that, if that is what benefits you. But if what benefits you is that regardless of who is there, is having a good road, having a safe place that benefits you, make sure you go for good road and safe place as well, above whoever is there. That's the reason. Now, to get those things that benefit you, you now need to look at the process. And step by step, if somebody says something that you like, find a way to find out how and when they're going to do it. If somebody does something that you like or you don't like, find out if they're following the right law, guidelines to do what they're doing. Because it might be them today that you like, tomorrow it might be something you don't like, or somebody you don't like. And if they set up a precedent, you're going to be in trouble. You see, the thing about process is that it is acting right today for the sake of tomorrow. So that where you stand today, regardless of who is in front of you or who is facing you, you can always chart that right course. So if we embrace the process, we'll make sure regardless of who is there, things will be fine. Because there's something we forget about human frailty. The idea of identity, of linking ourselves to one person, thinking that if we get this person in power, everything will be right.
Exactly.
It's a very dangerous thing, because that person might turn out to have deceived us. One, that's even a bad one. That's intentional. But unintentionally, that person might get there and become mad or be possessed by some spirit that is different from what we had before. That person might go there and go rogue. But if we trust our process, regardless of what the person has said, that we said, no, okay, whoever you are, this is the way we do things, and let's all agree. And, you know, we're going to be fine. That's the joy of process. It guarantees us against human frailties. It saves us from discretion. It saves us from, you know, acting in caprice or whims of anybody.
All right.
That's the joy.
Let's get back to the field now, and we have Sarah Ayeku, who is in Ondo South, Okitipupa, precisely to bring us up to speed with so far so good with the process, what developments we have that you can tell us, Sarah. Bring us up to speed. What more do we need to know at this point?
It's very interesting developments, Veronica. So I'm just along Okitipupa. I'm still in Okitipupa local government, particularly in polling unit 010, which is Olaleye quarters, I can understand. So this is one polling unit where one of the candidates, governorship candidates, who had already voted. But before I bring him on to talk about some things have been happening at this particular polling unit, right? Security personnel have been having a difficult time managing the crowd at this particular polling unit. So you see that initially, when we got here, at some point, we saw that the police was trying to calm the people down and calm the party agents down as well. But let me bring on someone who can really tell us what happened, you know, a couple of minutes ago. He's a domestic election observer. So talk to us about what you've seen here today, what you've observed at this particular polling unit.
Well, I'm Dr. Rev Christ from the International Synergy of Advocates for Global Peace and Development Initiative.
Can you tell us your name again?
I'm Dr. Rev Christ from the International Synergy of Global Advocates for Global Peace and Initiative Development.
What you've seen here today?
Yes. This ward, Olaleye quarters in Okitipupa, so there is some tensions that generated here as a result of some people. They said they agreed with their consent that when they cast their vote, after voting, they should show them the paper.
Let me understand you right. There was a consensus, an agreement between some voters and party agents to display the ballot paper after they've cast, after thumb printing, right?
So there were some agreement between some members of the parties that immediately after voting, after thumb printing, they should display the paper to them, the ballot paper. So thereby derailing the voting process. So the security, they were handicapped and nothing comes up for solution. So we decided to advise them not to come on that. There's nowhere it's done in the whole world that when somebody from print, they will not show it to everybody. The ballot paper that look, that there's nowhere it's done. That they should not, that consensus they've agreed on is completely zero. So they should not do such a thing. They should not do such a thing.
So let's get to what you've observed so far. I know that the election is still too early to call certain things. Talk to us about the preparation of INEC towards today and how you've seen them fared. You know, election time, did they start on time at this particular polling unit and at this ward? And what were your observations? And what do you think they can improve, you know, in their operations?
But in this polling unit, in Olaleye quarters, Unit 2, Ward 10. At the starting, the material arrived here around 7:30 a.m. And the procedure, the process, we are just going on smoothly before this argument of printing and showing the paper, the voters' paper to them started. Now, even as I'm talking to you now, there is a lot of chaos. There are people to go and vote now, they find it difficult because they are trying to ratify what led to the argument. So that is just all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So from what you see right now, so before now we had these two tables, right? And then people were queuing behind the two tables. But now we've seen that they've moved forward. They've even moved the ballot box away from where it was stationed before now to a more enclosed area so that people do not have to show their ballot paper. We're trying to get the candidate of one of the parties, political parties, is come with us, Shegun, come with us. We're trying to get him to talk to us. Of course, he's not happy with the process because he has his own reservations. But when we spoke with one of the voters earlier, he says it's his vote. He can decide to show whoever he wants to show his ballot paper. And so we're hoping to get him talk to us briefly. We see that they're trying to settle. Some party agents and security operators are trying to speak with and get a consensus really as to how this process can move on. Let me see if I can get him. 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 We're live on TV. We're live on TV. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. This is Mr. Akingbola. He's no mention of parties. Let's be very civil. Let's be civil. Let's be civil. Let's be civil. So we will first talk to one of the governorship candidates for this election. Let's just step back a bit.
I finished voting. I sat down there and decided, is that telling them to vote for APC? Is that the way?
No, so we're not going to mention political parties, sir. Let's just stick with the issues. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. You just voted. A minute, sir. A minute, sir. So that I can be orderly, yes. Right? You just voted a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. Talk to us about what you've observed so far. Just step back a bit so that we can get you.
I voted here about 10 minutes ago.
Step back a bit, sir.
I voted here as a candidate 10 minutes ago, and I started somewhere there. And when the APC came in here, listen, I have to mention, and they started telling them to go and vote for APC. Is that the way we want to work?
We cannot mention the name of parties, sir. We can't mention the name of parties, sir. All right, just go ahead.
Some group of people came in here and started telling them where to vote to. It's not proper. It's not proper.
So, what would you like to see happen in this case?
What I want to see is that orderliness, we need it here. If you finish your vote, leave where you finish voting and sit somewhere else. You understand me? That is it.
But what really is the contention?
The contention is that there are some group of people telling the other group where to vote to.
They are telling the voters?
Yes, where to vote. They will show them and they are paying them somewhere there.
Do you have evidence for that?
Yeah.
Do you have evidence?
Yes. They are there with POS there. They are paying them. They are paying them.
Do you think that with that you don't stand a chance for this election?
I stand a chance. I stand a chance. Everybody here want to vote for me, but they are trying to swing it.
So this is what is happening. He is the political governorship candidate for the SDP. That's Mr. Akingbola, Bamidele Akingbola. Yes, that's who he is. And so he has just told us what his concerns are about this election. So what you see now is that there are two queues, right? One for males, the other for females. No elderly, but they're all queuing on the same line. And so you see that before now we had the ballot box in this area, before these tables. But now, since they had that argument earlier on, they've moved the ballot box inside that area. So now you don't have to come out to thumb print. You thumb print at that area, and then you cast your ballot. You put your ballot paper in the ballot box. So that's what's going on at this particular ward. That's a polling unit 010. That's at Olaleye quarters in Okitipupa local government.
I just want to quickly ask, when all of this were happening, what was the security, what were the security agents doing to resolve whatever matter or the chaos that happened?
So the reason it's not being worse, the reason we still have some level of sanity in this place, the reason we still have that is because we see the officers trying to placate, trying to calm the people down. The party agents specifically, they're trying to calm them down, trying to make them understand the process, the electoral process, trying to also, talk to the people who are party supporters, who are also voters. They're trying to talk to them. Is this your queue?
Yes.
I thought your queue was on the other side. I thought your queue was on the other side.
Then please maintain your queue. Please maintain it. Please.
So it's been really difficult for them. I tell you, it's been really difficult for them. It's been really difficult for them to calm the people down. So in this polling unit, I can see 3 police officers, 1 male, 2 females, and 1 NSCDC officer. That's what we see at this particular unit. That's polling unit 0110 Ward 13. And so we're hoping that the people will calm down a bit and then vote for the candidates of the choice. But one thing I really do not understand is how this particular setup is, the election setup. So you see, you have to go under. You have to go under that place when you collect your ballot paper. You come out under the stick, that barricade there. You cast your vote, and then you go back under it to cast your ballot. That's what you see. So I really don't understand this setup. So hopefully the INEC ad hoc staff will be able to get their gear together. But the security operatives are trying their best to ensure that some kind of sanity comes back to this particular polling unit. So we see that there's a bit of calm around. People are just watching, really watching, like they're out with their phones and just watching to see if anything happens in this polling unit.
I saw you were trying to speak with that particular man there that joined the queue for women, because I know you mentioned earlier that there was the queue for women and the queue for men, and I'm wondering what he's doing in the queue for women.
He identifies as...
I don't understand. I was trying to ask him. He was telling me that's his queue. But you can see around here, right? He's the only man on this side. I really don't know where it's going. He's the only man on this side. Mommy. So there is no consideration for the elderly. Daddy, Okay, so this is said there is no gender differences at this particular polling unit. So
they're all my wives.
He said they're all his wives. So that's why he's standing with the women. Veronica.
Sarah, talk to us. Has there been any incidents of beavers malfunctioning? Or has the process been smooth so far?
That's in the polling units we've visited, we've not heard any kind of incidents of beavers malfunctioning. So it's working. Shagun, just let them see the beavers work. So you see the INEC ad hoc staff there. That's Assistant Presiding Officer 1 using the beavers machine over there. So as against what we used to have before, where the elderly cannot, the beavers does not recognize the elderly. It's not doing that. It's working perfectly well for this particular polling unit. Even in the previous polling unit we're at, it was working well. But in this place, right, it's just for the political parties, the agents, the supporters. We're hoping that they will just calm down because they're seated at this side, right, and just watching whatever happens at the voting area. So you see them seated at this side. There's a policeman there trying, of course, to talk to them and ensure the candidates, right, that particular candidate I spoke with, like that's Mr. Bamindele Akingbola, is ensuring that he's telling him to try and speak with his supporters so they can calm down, so that this electoral process can be peaceful.
All right, Sarah, I was asking earlier about persons with disabilities, but we'll definitely come back to you for more updates with regards to that. Let's get back to the studio now to perhaps look at some of the issues that was raised in that polling unit in Okitipupa, talking about people voting and then showing. It's supposed to be a private process, and that is against the law as it is. So I'm sure INEC is monitoring what is going on, and but then we'll get your perception to it. And then there was accusation of vote buying as well.
Yes. Well, I think we go back to the process thing. You know, when we talk about process, the passion of the process makes you see the roles of individuals and entities in the whole process as well. You know, man is born out of sin and lives in